colored packet are the pie charts showing the breakdowns, well, are the breakdowns in pie charts and in table formats as to how the budget breaks down, totals and breakdowns. The 2-page that I handed out is the written summary that I try to put together every year to hit on some of the larger points of the budget and some of the overall observations. So with that, the budget for 2018 is being proposed at $76,486,970, millage of 3.2925 mils, which is the same as 2017, no increase in the millage. Overall, that $76 million budget is increasing by an increase of $1,947,000 or 2.6% for 2018. The general fund separately, which is funded by local tax dollars, is increasing by 1.47% to $45,611,000. Again, does not include a millage increase, and the last millage increase took place for the 2016 year. Some of the notable categories that I'll point out here are that the county support to agencies is going down pretty dramatically. Those agencies that the county provides general fund support to are Area Agency on Aging, Children and Youth, Domestic Relations, the Renova Center, MHIDEI, and EMA. And that is going down by 17%, or a dollar amount of $928,000. That's really a large decrease that has contributed greatly to the kind of the ease of this year's budget, or making this budget a little easier than is typical. And so 5 out of those 6 agencies that I listed are staying the same or reducing the amount of support needed from the general fund. 2 of them that are responsible for most of that are the Renova Center and EMA. The Renova Center has received a reimbursement rate increase from the Commonwealth that we have been waiting to hear about since I think 2015. The per diem rate that the Commonwealth pays Renova for the care of each resident was not covering the cost of the care, the true cost of the care, and so the county was having to subsidize that operation to the tune of $700,000 a year. With this rate increase, which is also retroactive, that county support's dropping all the way to $120,000 in county support, and that's primarily in salary increases that they don't approve necessarily year after year. But we even then apply for waivers for some of those things, and we wait to hear. We won't know that for a long time, but we wait to hear whether those waivers are approved. So that number could go down even further potentially. But for the 2018 budget, that's a dramatic decrease, and should remain that way for the next couple of years in terms of covering the costs at Renova. Further, the Emergency Management Agency is also benefiting from some state intervention, that being the legislation 2 years ago that increased the 911 charge from $1.25 to $1.65 per phone line. That is beginning to come down to the counties, and we're seeing that in additional revenue that is helping to cover the costs of services at 911, as well as some savings that the agency itself has realized from consolidating equipment maintenance service contracts, because there is a lot of equipment down there, technologically and otherwise, and they're able to combine some of those. Some of them actually have just run their course in terms of leases, and those costs went away as well. The prison budget, not really pointing out any numbers here in the prison budget, just some a significant observation, that being that the average population so far in 2017 at the prison's been 530 inmates. The largest cost of that operation is wages. And while the opening of the day reporting center was delayed for some time in 2017, it's now up to full operation, and we're budgeting for the full operation in 2018. There is evidence that this is having an impact, since the population last week for the first time was under 500 in over a year and a half. And that's a significant decrease. Hopefully that will hold. The warden is optimistic that it will hold. He's seeing the efforts by probation and the courts and otherwise to defer some of these defendants to the day reporting center rather than going or staying in prison. So we're very optimistic about that. The total budget for the day reporting center services for 2018 is $550,000. The pension fund contribution is also a notable item, that being that the contribution is budgeted again for the 5th consecutive year to pay the full annual required contribution. That is budgeted at $3.1 million. The 2018 ARC is going to be paid from the general fund, from agency reimbursements, and from some cash that's being carried forward because the 2017 ARC was about $800,000 lower than anticipated. So that cash can be carried forward and applied to the 2018 ARC, thereby helping the 2018 budget. The last 4 payments of the ARC, along with the one-time deposit of $10 million back in 2015, plus a good return on investments, have brought the county employee pension fund to a level of 86% funded. That was a funding level back in the spring. With the way the market has performed so far this year, and hopefully will stay that way for the next 3 weeks, we're very hopeful that that funded percentage will go up even farther. Debt service payments are up by 11%, but that is entirely attributable to the financing of energy savings improvements with Honeywell, and over the life of the borrowing for those improvements, the energy and operational savings offset the cost of the debt. So it's really a net zero over time, and that's the 3rd time we're doing one of those with Honeywell. The other 2 have been very successful. As a result of the regular debt payments and some well-timed refinancing, the county's debt is now below $20 million in principal, which as a per capita is very low, comparable to some neighbors in many counties in the state. It's about $140 per capita. Employee salary increases for 2018 are non-union 3%, court-related Teamsters 3.25%, court professionals, which is an arbitrated contract which we were handed 3 years ago, has 6% off for those employees who are on the chart, 4% for those who are off the chart. I believe we're entering the last year of that arbitrated contract. Social services 3%, county detectives and correctional officers are still negotiating, and EMA telecommunicators are 3%. So, 4 out of 5 of those that have numbers are pretty much in the same range. Non-union meal reimbursements for travel and training are being increased for 2018, as well as the unused sick leave buyback. For the most part, those are going to be in line or very close to what the union reimbursements have been. Employee health insurance premiums to the county are increasing by only 4% for 2018. That is a very low number relative to what is happening in the rest of the market. Some increases are in the 20% range for some private employers and otherwise. Deductibles and co-payments do not change for 2018 for the non-union. However, there are union contracts that are seeing increases in those deductibles and have been over time to catch up to what the non-union payments are. Excuse me. Also, the 2018 budget includes continued funding for improving technology infrastructure as the county moves forward with upgrading the IT platform and application software. These are expected to take place over multiple years. This is kind of a repeat from last year a little bit. The next step in the upgrades is to replace the payroll and accounting software. We have $250,000 set aside to begin and implement that process to select a vendor, and that process will continue in 2018. And lastly, the Capital Project Fund, which was created by the Commissioners in 2017 for property maintenance projects, improvements, acquisitions, and any other expenditures that might be appropriate or that may only occur once over many years, so as not to create spike expenditures for the general fund. In 2017, that fund was used to replace some sections of the roof on the municipal building, mostly the entire roof on Courtroom 3, also to repair sidewalks and to replace the surface to the wheelchair ramp. And then toward the end of the end of 2017, we acquired a residential property behind MHID, which will be used for parking once that is raised and the area is developed and paved. In 2018, the fund will be used for the As I mentioned before, the payroll and accounting software, repaving of the parking areas serving the courthouse, and completion of that project at MHIDEI. The fund is maintained with refunds and allocations from the general fund. So that is the summary. There's a lot more to the budget, but some of those are the big things, the notable things. And so at this point, unless there are any questions or any comments by the commissioners, I would recommend you tentatively adopting the 2018 budget, which will then be put on display and must be so for 20 days. And you are scheduled to take final action on that December 28th.
I'm very proud of this budget. I think the input from all our department heads and the hard work that they put in and how well prepared they were in coming to their hearings. Just in this room, if you look at Sally Newen working on bringing more revenue in through additional collections. Next is Barb with her passport efforts, bringing in revenue and improving service. Bob Metley with audits and collections improvement over there. The sheriff working on overtime and